Today we're going to be talking about the difference between my WRX and the new WRX Spec-B that's releasing in Australia. I'm going to start from the exterior, the difference between my WRX VB-RS and the difference between the Spec-B WRX, which is releasing in Australia around mid this year, around May, June, I believe as well. And it's a hefty price of 67,300 drive away, like on road as well. So comparing, well, we'll go outside and walk around and then we'll talk about prices a bit more further then as well. So starting off with mine, it is a WRX RS. So in Australia, this is the top of the range with the, what is it, like the Harman Kardon sound system, the sunroof. They don't come with a rear spoiler. So this range will have no Brembos as well. The manual doesn't have the drive mode, so it won't have damper adjustability. It doesn't have that the Spec-B would have. So these are just things that I'm talking about that the Spec-B will have over my one. It will have the damper adjustability, so you can stiffen or harden your drive depending on how you like it. It will have the Brembos. Mine are just the standard brakes, which, I mean, for street purposes, they're okay, not bad at all. I mean, if you're going to track it, you definitely have to change it. The one thing that will have it as well, so mine has some people prefer this, some people don't. It would be these seats. They're a bit wider, less aggressive on the upholstery, but honestly not too bad for driving and some days track use. It's not too bad. So the Spec-B will have the Recaros, which I'll put up a photo as well, so it'll be a bit more aggressive bolstering. What else? So it would also have the rear spoiler. So from factory, mine is an aftermarket accessory, so this will be now produced from Subaru themselves in the new Spec-B, so that will be a factory option instead of this replica, which honestly isn't still too bad. Some people still prefer the no spoiler look, but for me, I reckon it just really finishes up the whole car. The Spec-B in Australia will also come with STI mufflers, so not catback, but just the mufflers, so that will be a different sound to it. If you do get the one that I got, the RS, it will just be a very quiet, very numb sound. Again, some people prefer that, some people don't. That's just the two differences. So anything else? So the Spec-B won't have the sunroof. My one comes with the sunroof option. It also comes with driver side electric seats. So the RS in Australia will have the electric seats, adjustability. Yes, the Spec-B in Australia will now release with the adjustable seats as well, just not the passenger seat won't be adjustable, so that will be a manual back and forth and pumping as well. The good thing is though, the Spec-B will still come with Harman Kardon sound system, which if you guys are buying the Spec-B or have any WRX, honestly, if you have the Harman Kardon sound system, it's a game changer. Like, it's just so much better. Over the standard RS, again, mine is pretty heavily modified. We can kind of go through the modifications a bit further as well. But if you've kind of watched my videos on my account as well, you kind of would have seen the progress of me building this car and all like the modifications that I've done to it. But we'll just ignore that it's not modified and just say it's kind of stock. The Spec-B will come with a bit more aggressive STI dampering, suspension as well, and a steering rack, so the steering should feel a bit more heavier, where apparently the RS, I don't personally think it's a bad thing, but it does feel a little bit light. Again, I've tracked the car and on track it makes sense, like it's less taxing on your arms. Yes, you do end up making a bit more corrections, but once you actually understand it, it's very rewarding to actually drive as well. So look, they have improved that in the Spec-B. So there's more sound, a bit more of aggressive drive. It is, so no sunroof, so it is lighter car. So they've kind of gone for like a more track focus orientated version of the RS. So in my opinion, if I was to still go down that road and choose between my option and the Spec-B, I would still probably choose the RS, only because in Australia you could get one of these for about 55,000 AUD drive away, where the Spec-B is going to be about 67,300. So that in itself is, you got to justify, do you want to spend that amount? And then you still have to get the styling kit if you want to modify it. If you want to modify it, then look, the good thing is you don't have to upgrade your Brembos. So in the Spec-B, me, I do, but personally, that in itself is a $5,000 job. So if you kind of want like all the comfort features and then upgrade to Brembos later, like what I'm going to do, it's still a bit more of a cost-effective solution, though you will have to go for the spoiler. So that's like another, let's just say $1,000 Brembo. So $6,000 to kind of make it look like a Spec-B. So let's just say $60,000 for an RS. And then after that, it's just going to come down to the actual cluster. That's different to the RS as well. Me, I will have a digital center, analog left and right, which personally prefer that. I don't hate digital dashes, but I just still prefer the old school look. I know that's personally me. I think having an entertainment system here is enough for me. And don't mind my TPS, I haven't installed the right TPSs, but yeah, personally that's enough for me, to be honest. Digital dash is going to be sick though, because it's going to be, not only would you see your GPS here, but you're going to be able to display your GPS and Apple CarPlay on your digital dash. So I guess that is something to take into accountability as well. Is it worth it for you to go to the 67,300? I would kind of, look, this is just my personal opinion. If you are going to be kind of just leaving the car stock standard, you don't plan on modifying it like kind of like what I did, it's definitely worth it, because a lot of it's already done with Subaru. It's on the warranty, especially like the brakes, the spoiler. Again, doesn't void warranty to go for an aftermarket spoiler, but again, that's all already done from Subaru. You get your electronic dampering. The one thing that I guess personally that's kind of annoying in the newer 24 and 25 WRXs is the eyesight feature. So up here you would have your eyesight cameras, which controls your lane keep, lane watch, and automatic braking as well. So my one doesn't have it because it was a 23 build. So to me personally, I prefer that just because it's less, I guess, what would you say the word? It's just less things that can go wrong, and just I don't have to turn anything on, off. So I prefer it that way. Then again, look, it's not a bad thing, it's a personal thing. Going back over it again, the Spec-B will still have your front camera option. You'll still have your left mirror option as well. So I think in America it's called the TR. So it's pretty much Australia's version of the TR. But yeah, we're just calling it a Spec-B. So just a quick rundown of things over my standard RS as well. It's just go over inside. So you will have again, digital dash. I think you might get a bit of Alcantara there. Alcantara in the center console here. You won't have a sunroof option, which personally, I don't know, I've come to accustomed to. I personally really like the sunroof, so I'm happy I have it. But don't get me wrong, the new Spec-B is going to be extremely sick. Almost 70,000 AUD, probably will be about 70,000 Australian by the time, look, you kind of have it, or semi looking like mine, or probably more. Probably not, to be honest. I don't think I want to spend $70,000 on a WRX. So I still think this is the nicer option, especially if you're not really track focused and it's just like a nice daily, because it still has all the comfort features that you would want from your X. It doesn't change the power output, so it's going to still remain the exact same power. And if you're going to modify it like I did anyway, so it kind of gives you that margin to play with. What I'm talking about kind of makes sense. Producing like, let's just say another 20 horsepower or maybe more kilowatts, and yes, I would say it's worth worth going for the Spec-B in Australia. But personally, since everything that the Spec-B has I can do myself, and probably down the road, you know, you might find a crash one, or you might find aftermarket parts cheaper, since there is so much supporting parts for this car, to build your own Spec-B if you're bothered. Which, again, that's why I'm making this video, just to give you guys a bit more of an idea and aware and understanding that if you're bothered and you're willing to kind of go down the road like I did, like paint match guards, C28s, semi-sleek spoilers, STI styling kit, rear diffuser, exhaust, then yeah, like you don't have to worry about it too much, because you're going to be chopping and changing things anyway. But if you're someone that just wants to keep the car extremely just stock standard, and not touch it, then yeah, 100% grab the Spec-B, because look, you've already paid for the car. You don't have to run around doing modifications. So yeah, in that type of way, you save yourself time and value as well. So the car's already done under warranty. Care about warranty like me, then look, I'd still say the RS is a good option, except for these damn freaking brakes. That's all that the downfall is, literally that. So I do have to fork out $5,000 on my own money to pretty much get that done. But yeah, I hope this has been somewhat informative for you guys as well. So we will go for a drive and kind of talk about it a bit more, but quick breakdown of what the Spec-B will have over just your standard WRX. So let me go for a drive and we'll talk about it more from there. Alright, so the biggest difference is going to be definitely the seats. So again, look, if you're somewhat of a bigger person, I would recommend probably the other option, just because I do see a lot of people swapping out the Recaros for this factory seat anyway, just because those Recaros are just a little bit too tight on the corners here. Other option, or the other feature, is going to be the digital dash. So you're going to have an actual digital dash. It's going to be a nice 12-inch LCD digital dash, which is nice. Like, don't get me wrong, I actually wish I had that. I don't hate this analog. It's not something that's still going to make me go, oh, you know what, I'm going to buy the Spec-B. I'm going to spend another $10,000 and get the Spec-B. It's not really a game changer for me. It's a cool thing. It's something that I could probably down the road get and install. The other thing is, it's going to have the 19-inch matte grey alloy wheels. Again, I'm not too much of a fan of 19s, especially on a performance car. I still prefer 18s. They perform better. You can put thicker tire walls on it like I have. The 19s are great. They come with the Potenza RE triple O's, I think it was. I could be wrong. They do come with better tires, so that's a plus. It comes with the standard, well, the big STI rear spoiler. Mine didn't come with it, but then again, you know, it's not a game changer either. You know, it definitely finishes up the car a lot nicer, but still, to me, it doesn't justify spending that extra money. It's cool. Yes, it comes with a better STI muffler than standard, but they should have came like that from factory. Again, you could always do an aftermarket exhaust. It's not the biggest game changer, but it will come with an STI genuine exhaust, genuine rear spoiler. So in terms of collectability, yes, it's better. So everything's just OEM and nice. It will come with the damper adjustable suspension, which is kind of interesting. Do I personally like it? I'm not too sure, to be honest, because I don't know what's going to go into actually changing it over to coilovers. So it might be more difficult. You might have to run like some type of system to bypass that, which sounds like more work for me to do, to be honest, because I know the TS automatic has it, but the manuals I liked because they didn't have it. So that, to me, is a negative, because you're gonna have to go through, it's gonna be a more expensive setup. It's not very straightforward, and yeah, just tedious. So, but again, look, if you want to keep the car stock standard, it's a good option, because it's already done for you. You have the options between softer, harder suspension, softer, harder steering, so it's kind of cool, but not a game changer. It doesn't have the sunroof, which I mentioned already. It will have, what else does it have? Stamp Spec B. Other than that, honestly, I think that's about it. It's nothing too... Yeah, it's just mainly cosmetic stuff. Nothing performance-wise, which I would have loved if they did. Maybe just tuned it another 10 kilowatts more, just something to give it a bit more, you know what I mean? Yes, the Brembo 6-pot fronts, 2-pot backs, that's a game changer. That is definitely needed. So that's the only thing that I would actually recommend to get the Spec-B for, really. It's just the Brembos. So it would be the Brembos and the digital dash. That would be the two things that I would actually consider grabbing the Spec-B for. Other than that, you can really much do the rest yourself. The damper adjustability is cool, but it's not something that you have to really think about too often as well. So it might be hitting closer to the 67 mark. So that's why I don't really justify going down the road, because I have C28s on my car. I have coilovers, which I still prefer over the damper adjustability. I have 8009 semi-slicks, 255s, 35s. I have a full NVIDIA R400 exhaust. I have a short shifter with a cob weighted shifter as well. And still below what the Spec-B would have been, just bone stock. Like if I bought the Spec-B, 67,300, C28s 4,000, 8009s 1,500, so we're going to be in like super territory almost. And it's kind of crazy to me that I'm only just going to be producing 270 horsepower when the Supra is 380 horsepower. So yeah, I don't know. I'd rather build my own WRX. It's just what Subaru have unfortunately led the car to. If it meant something more than brakes and a LCD digital dash, would have been cool. But yeah, I don't know. I want to know what you guys think about it. Would you just prefer just to buy the car as stock as it is, 67,300, leave it how it is, I guess, or go down the road of what I've done, get like an RS or even like a base model, which like order base is like 52. If you get really lucky, you might be able to find an old stock one for like 49 maybe Australian, and then go from there. Like the base model is a better performing car due to just an overall lighter car. But then again, look, it all comes down to what you want to do. If I was tracking the WRX, I'd probably get a base model and go from there, just cause I personally would be putting more money into, or just taking away the better parts, which you don't need to do. I think if you were going to get a Spec-B, you're more the type of person, I wouldn't say type of person, but I would say you're more leaning towards just kind of leaving the car how it came from factory. So if that's something you want to do and just kind of just grab the car, leave it bone stock and just enjoy it for what it is, Spec-B is definitely the option. If you want something that's just kind of got every feature, except for the Brembos and the digital dash, the RS is a good option. If you're looking to track the car, the base model is probably the best option, just price wise, same performance. Yeah, that's pretty much about it for today. What's kind of next? The 34 this week, so Monday we're getting it off to the dyno. So if you guys haven't caught up or too sure about what other cars I have, quickly just, check out my other videos. Check out my other videos, because we're also building a 400 kilo kilowatt or 600 horsepower R34 GTT with a custom wide body on it, which is, oh man, that is the dream build, and I really can't wait for that to be finished. It's been like, well, almost 2 years in the progress, so that's finally getting tuned, and I can finally reveal it to you guys, and we can go for a drive and talk more about that very soon. But the coming week is just going to be about the dyno tune, so I'm super excited about that, and super excited, fingers crossed everything goes all good and we put down some fun responsive power. So I've gone for a smaller turbo, but we'll go about that more in next week as well. So yeah, that's about it. I'm probably just going to pull up down here, take a few photos, like a thumbnail for you guys, and wrap the video up there. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you in a future video. Peace. Catch you next week on the dyno video, so I can't wait for that.